Hi, everyone. Hey, have you seen this?
Fast food chain Wendy's becoming the latest company to feel the effects of a pandemic-triggered meat shortage, reportedly not able to serve burgers, its hallmark item, in some locations, including California, South Carolina, and Kentucky on Monday. And Costco is restricting fresh beef, pork, and poultry items to 3 per customer.
I was able to score on one and can't wait to get it on the barbecue.
The CDC says about 5,000 meat and poultry plant workers have contracted coronavirus in 115 plants across 19 states. Social distancing and other measures are now slowing down plants nationwide.
What you see with this is less supplies and higher prices.
Wow. That's pretty amazing, huh? Well, this started me thinking about meat. We already have looked at meat in terms of burgers and its impacts on the world. And we know that a lot of the simple things that we take for granted, along with everyone else, created a large impact on the planet. One thing we looked at was a burger and fries meal. Do you remember that? And now that this COVID-19 pandemic has impacted meat processors, I think it's a good time to think about meat in general and its carbon footprint and its environmental footprint. In fact, raising meat uses up to half our water in this country, our fresh water, 70% of the grain we use, and 80% of our agricultural land. Did you know that? It's also the #1 cause of species and habitat loss, the main cause of water pollution. And it produces about 51% of greenhouse gas emissions that are causing global climate shift. And on top of that, as more and more people in the world, places like China and Indonesia, where people are becoming more affluent, they are choosing to eat more meat. So in the last 20 years, the amount of meat consumption in the world has doubled, and it's expected to double again by 2050, 30 years from now. That is not sustainable. It's not, as we have learned in terms of our footprint and our sustainability, that if people lived like we live in the US and the rest of the world, we would need 4 or 5 Earths just to support them. So this is not sustainable. Consuming a high meat diet also has implications for our health.
And the National Institutes of Health, which says vegetarians may be missing out on grilled hamburgers at picnics, but they also tend to miss out on the major health problems that plague many Americans. Just take a look at the difference in heart disease, the #1 killer of Americans, between those who eat meat and those who are vegetarian and vegan. And the progression of many diseases not only can be halted, but reversed, sometimes in as little as just 2 to 3 weeks by switching to a plant-based diet. Reducing and eliminating the consumption of meat and meat products with a greener diet rich in fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, and whole grains will lead to a healthier world.
Well, that was Dr. Joanne Kung talking at a TED Talk about switching to a more plant-based diet. Well, if that's the case, Americans probably are going to be very reluctant to not have burgers and switch away from the meat that we all love. So what are people doing about it right now? Well, there are companies out there that are trying to come up with alternatives. And I'd like us to take a look at a few of those, and you might have even heard of them. And the first one I'd like us to look at is Impossible Burger. Impossible Burger, you can get that now at Burger King. Have you tried it? I haven't, but it's becoming more and more popular. Let's find out what's in it. What makes an Impossible Burger possible? The accompanying videos on this lesson are talking about Impossible Burgers. But before we start those, I'd like you to take a look at what the CEO of Impossible Burger has to say about his outlook and why he's doing what he's doing.
All that was left was to meet the man who created all of this, Pat Brown.
Why the Impossible Burger?
From a consumer standpoint, it may just be because it's delicious. But the reason that we created it is because we wanted to address the greatest environmental threat that humans have ever faced, which is the catastrophic impact of the use of animals as a food technology on the global environment, on climate change, on water resources, and land use and biodiversity. Cows are the most destructive species and the most invasive species on Earth, except for possibly human. The total mass of cows on Earth is 10 times greater than the total mass of every mammal, bird, reptile, and amphibian combined. You need massive amounts of cows to meet the global demand for beef.
But wouldn't this be the most significant disruption in at least modern history in terms of all those people that work in dairy and work in beef?
Industry after industry gets disrupted and effectively replaced by better technology. That's been true throughout history. But people recover. But yes, it will be the most disruptive change in the global economy, I would say, probably for centuries. I have absolutely no ill will toward the people who are in that industry, but I do have every intention of making that industry history. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so we see a need for plant-based food, plant-based meat. Is it good? Is it possible? Is it just a bunch of hype? And is there anything else out there besides Impossible Burger? Are they the only ones? This is what I'd like you to find out. I'd like you to answer the questions after you watch the videos, and then you'll see the questions are set up into 3 parts. So you can divvy up this assignment into 3 parts, come back to it. And the last part is your research. I'd like you to look online, it's not hard, and find 3 other plant-based foods. I'm not talking about Indian cooking where it's all vegetarian already there. I'm talking about trying to change the way that Americans eat, trying to change Americans' diet. And it's for environmental reasons and it's for health reasons. So see what's out there. If you have the opportunity, try it. And I'd love to hear what your comments are. Oh, it tastes great. I can't tell the difference. Oh my God, it's like shoe leather. Who wants to eat that? I want to hear it. Okay? So let's do that. See you next time.